Hi, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Tiny Brains podcast. I'm Kevin Joyce, CEO at Tiny Brains, and with me is Peter Graham, the Brigadier of Brains. Hello,
Good
Peter.
afternoon.
So, what we do on this podcast, if you're new to us here, is we take a look at the biggest stories from the previous weeks in XR. And this week, as luck would have it, I've just got off a plane.
Well done.
Thank you. That's maybe why I look particularly tired today. I've just come back from Shanghai because I was at the VR Expo in China, and it was a cool event. To kick us off this week, I'm going to give you a little bit of the highlights from this event.
Thank you very much
Sound
because
good?
I want to know what's going on. Yeah. I'm a little
So
jealous.
this event was, I'd say it was similar in scale to AWE Europe. It's not the biggest event in the world, but also wasn't particularly small. There was two stages with it was over 2 days, and there was two stages that were packed full of talks. But mostly there was a ton of hardware. There was loads of VR headsets specifically designed for LBE. LBE is getting a big push in China right now, LBE VR, and there was new headsets that were specifically designed for LBE. And there was also, as you can imagine, with the year that we're in, the year of 2025, there were loads of AR glasses. Some of them were just similar to what we have now, existing smart glasses. Others had very basic screen projection, things like being able to see your calendar or having a live translation service, translating the local speech into text, which was particularly handy for me with my basic Mandarin. Um, but yes, it was an interesting show because there was a lot of devices that were aimed for the China market that over here we will never see, or potentially will never see. I spoke to many of them about their intentions for international launch, and many of them said yes, it's on their roadmap, but they're not sure when on their roadmap. So basically, if you want to know what's happening in China, you've got to go to China.
Oh, well, that's a bit disappointing, but I better book my next trip then. My
Yeah,
first trip.
get on that plane. Don't even need a visa these days.
How do you
It's
not?
great. Yeah. We'll talk about that another time. That's not for this podcast. We're going to talk about the other news from the week now. We're going to start off with Cybershoes. This is an old one.
Yeah, Cybershoes. Maybe people who are owning like a Quest 3S probably even have never even heard of Cybershoes. These are a company that were founded back in 2018 to help solve the locomotion issue that kind of existed in those earlier years of VR. And cyber shoes are essentially shoes that you put on your feet. There was a whole kit, came with a nice circular mat, came with a chair, and came with these shoes that you slipped on underneath your main shoes, and they had rollers on. You would kind of walk, and that was your locomotion. And they've officially closed. Now, I think many of us have not heard of them for a little while, and in actual fact, digging into this, production on cyber shoes actually stopped a couple of years ago. But it was the CEO and the founder announced that it was last month that the European company had closed its doors completely, which is
Pour one out. Pour one out for another VR accessory. That's gone by the wayside.
yeah it's one of those things. It was such a niche product. I'm sure you tried it, Kev, and I
I
know
had, yeah.
I definitely tried it. And it was just one of those things where I could see the idea behind it, but I never felt like the execution was there really, and it was exhausting at points.
Yes, it's not really. I don't know if they ever pivoted away from consumer and into enterprise, but it doesn't feel like it's a consumer product. Never felt like it was a consumer product. And the enterprise adoption, there's so much competition, right? So
Yeah,
sadly, they weren't the ones.
no, they did very well to begin with on their Kickstarter, and they did an Indiegogo. Kickstarter did over 200K. The Indiegogo did similar. And they didn't really do a lot of, as far as I'm aware, venture capital sort of investments. It was all through community, which was very good. But again, it was a niche within a niche, as we sometimes call it. And yeah, bye bye, cyber shoes.
Yes, indeed. Pour one out for Cybershoes. Going back to China for a minute, though. I've literally just seen these guys.
Yay, Pimax. We love a bit of Pimax. Now we always feels like we talk about Pimax on each podcast at the moment. Last week it was about the Crystal Super. This week it is about the Dream Air. This was announced earlier on in the year, and it's kind of like a rival to Big Screen Beyond. These very small, lightweight VR head glasses, which connect to your PC. Pimax announced the Dream Air, and now they've announced the Dream Air SE. And as you may coin from the SE version, it's a lighter, cheaper version that's going to be coming out. They've announced this at the same time as delaying the Dream Air. Classic Pimax. Let's add another headset on top of the one we're just going to go to the delay. Which is
We can never have enough levels of complexity with Pimax.
you can't, can you? So let's start with the big boy. The Dream Air is now getting delayed until Q3 2025, hopefully, and that starts at like $1,900 for the what they call the Lighthouse version. So you're using the Steam tracking, or there is one which is the Slam version with inside out tracking, and that's going to be a costly $2,200 for that one for a Pimax headset. So that's a fair bit. The SE version, dropping it down a little bit, 899 for the Lighthouse version. You will need doesn't come with controllers, doesn't come with the base station, so you will need to buy all that extra. It also has a Slam version for $1,200, which definitely sounds a little bit better. Obviously, it's going to have reduced like display resolution, a few other bits and pieces taken off. But there you go. And I'm not sure when the SE is planning on coming out, but are we expecting a delay? Probably at some point. So take Pimax's launch dates with a sprinkle of salt.
Had I heard any of this, I would have asked them last week. But thanks to the magnificent Chinese firewall, I didn't get much VR news where I was. Only what was happening at the show, unfortunately.
Mhm.
But hey, Pimax, you remember me? Let's chat about these things.
Did you try these at all? Did you see any of this?
I visited the Pimax booth, yes, and I spoke with them.
Very good. Very good.
Um, so and another company that I saw at the show last week now, Rokid.
Yes, Rokid, very prominent within the AR glasses space, have officially announced the AR spatial glasses. Now, these are actually shown at CES 2025, so they've had a little bit of a tease a few months ago. And now they're almost ready for launch. They haven't announced a launch date, but they have announced a price. These new AR glasses are going to be coming in at just under $700, 698, or there'll be an early adopters discount. You'll be able to knock $50 off the price of those. And they are essentially a bit like X-Real and some of these other glasses. You can put a big, huge 300-inch virtual monitor in your space to play games and watch TV shows and all that sort of stuff. And it's going to feature micro OLED panels from Sony. There you go.
And these were also available hands-on at the VRAR Expo in China last week.
Well, so you can give us a review then, Kev.
Sure, yeah, I can give straight. Having just got off a plane, I'm sure my brain is in perfect condition to give a in-depth analysis on this podcast.
Exactly. Perfect. We'll have one of those later.
So we're moving on now to a company that I did not see in China last week.
Did Meta not have a big presence there?
Meta in China? No, no, I don't think they were around.
Well, and this time we're not going to be talking about Quest or Horizon Store or anything like that. We're actually well, Meta are looking for volunteers, and this isn't some weird. Well, it's kind of an experiment as such. They're looking for people to train their codec avatars on. I think it was like over the last couple of years, they've shown these avatars in various forms as they've progressed. Most recently, on the Lex Friedman podcast, you saw Lex and you saw Mark in these kind of codecs. But essentially, what they're looking for is they say volunteers, but they're actually going to pay $50 an hour for you to go and, they can scan you and study you for human motion and like conversations and all that sort of stuff. You do need to be based in the US though. It's called Project Warhol, and it's going to be based in Pittsburgh.
So I hadn't heard about this, having been in China. And from your description, Peter, I was about to launch into a massive spiel about how this multi-billion dollar company wants volunteers, but they're actually paying for it, so it's fine. Yeah, go for it. Go nuts. Why not? If
Yeah,
you want to give away all rights to your own personal likeness, which is probably in the contract, then go nuts. Go get your $50.
yeah, yeah. It's not actually being run by Meta. It's being run by a data company called Appen, but
I'm
still,
not surprised.
yeah, it's still being, all your facial features are going to be recorded, your gestures, everything else. So if you want to be fully digitized for $50 an hour, you can sign up, and I think it kicks off this September. There you go. But you
Okay.
in person.
Okay, so we'll save the discussion about privacy concerns and so on for another time. In terms of the tech, it's a great idea.
Yes, it's stuff that they want to improve these avatars. Everyone wants more realistic avatars rather than the
Yeah.
cartoony stuff.
It's basically exactly the same as training an LLM on existing content or an image generator or whatever else. It's these AI tools. This is going to be AI integrated with digital versions of people to create more realistic representations. So it's a great idea on the tech side of things.
Yeah. Whether everyone trusts Meta to do that and all those issues, we'll
This
skirt.
is why they're using a third party. But anyway, moving on to something else that's a great idea. Our little blue friends.
The Smurfs. Now, I'm not too sure how international Smurfs are beyond like France and the UK and Europe. I assume they're fairly international because they've been around for over 65 years.
I honestly don't know what their audience is in America. I'm not sure. But obviously here in Europe, they have been at regular times, several times over their 65 years, been quite a big deal.
Yeah, and that's it. They started out in comic books. They've been TV shows, films, and video games since about the 80s. But this is the first time we're going to see the Smurfs, as far as I'm aware, in VR in a new game called the Smurfs Flower Defense. And it's a tower defense game.
I was about to say I can guess what this is very quickly.
Yes, so this is going to be also a mixed reality game, as most of them are nowadays for Meta Quest. Whether you want to play this tower defense in VR or the MR, you can do, and it's coming out on the 19th of June. So there you go.
Very soon indeed. Okay. Well, that's all we got time for this week. So from myself and Papa Smurf there. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next week. Oh, and my next event is AWE, so if you're planning on going to that, hit me up. Love to have a full schedule, just like we did the VRAR Expo in China. Thank you very much. See you all soon.